Hi, welcome back to Journey into Stories. Today we're going to do a special journey reads that we've had in the making since April of this year. We are in a special location to read one of my favorite books by Stephen King, The Shining. We are at the Stanley Hotel where he got the idea to write the book The Shining. In 1974, Stephen King and his wife Tabitha came here to spend the night, and he had a dream. I'll tell you a little more about the dream later, but basically he came up with the idea to write The Shining, and we are here 3 nights, 2 of which we are in a regular king-size room, and then tomorrow night we get moved to room 217, and if you know that that's the room that Stephen and Tabitha spent the night in, and where he came up with the idea. I started already reading this book. This is a reread. I've read it like 4 times. Love this book. We had about a 15-hour drive here. I'm just a little bit, page 234. It starts out where Jack is being interviewed to be the caretaker for the Overlook Hotel. So they move in and you meet some characters, Wendy, his wife, and Danny, his son, who's 5 years old and has a special gift. We're going to read it in different spots and give you a little bit of the history of the hotel and the book. So come along on the journey with me. Here's a little tidbit I found. Now, the original Shining movie with Shelley Duvall and Jack Nicholson was not filmed here. It was filmed over, I believe, in England and then Oregon, maybe, if I'm maybe mistaken with that. But Stephen King, when he did the mini series with Steven Weber and Rebecca De Mornay, they filmed it here. He wanted it filmed here. And so, but also I found out Dumb and Dumber was here. Lloyd Christmas and Harry, I love that movie. And right here is where the Lamborghini pulls up and the presents, the gifts fall out. And then those steps is where they're passing out the money. And then when you go inside, there's a little race with him and his girlfriend. Swanson? But I think it's Samsonite, the luggage, Samsonite, Swanson. So we'll just do a fake thing. But anyway, here's where the car is, and then they pass out the money, and then they have a race up the steps. Maybe I'll get someone to race me up the steps. This is where Lloyd races his girlfriend up the steps, and they fall, and he pulls her down the steps. Right. We're also, Jack has found some different paperwork on the history of the Overlook Hotel, so that's interesting to read about the history and the ties that people had to the Overlook. Where we're at is Estes Park, which is in Colorado. The Rocky Mountains are surrounding us. It's a beautiful, beautiful location, and the hotel was built, I believe, in 1909. And so we have a tour tonight that I'm going to try and film if I can and share. Otherwise, we'll take pictures and I'll talk about the tour. And then tomorrow is October 30th, and we check out of the room we've been in for 2 days, and then we check in tomorrow night to the Stephen King room 217, and then we have a Shining tour tomorrow night, and then we wake up Halloween morning in Stephen King's room, where I mentioned Dumb and Dumber was filmed here. Jim Carrey spent one night, and he requested to be in room 217, and he couldn't stay the whole night. He had some ghostly things happen to him, whispers I've read about, and just a feeling that you're not alone. And so he left in the middle of the night and got a hotel somewhere else, but he couldn't stay. So hopefully, fingers crossed, hopefully we can make it all night in Stephen King's room. But, you know, I'm excited to, see what that entails. And I also have a list of different haunted rooms that we're going to do a little ghost tour, just us, and tell you a little bit about the different rooms while I read The Shining. And I also have it on Audible, so I'm listening to it also in the different locations. Here's a little update, and if you've never read The Shining, you might fast forward a little bit so you don't get anything spoiled. I really liked this part of it because Danny is talking with Jack and Wendy, his parents, telling him about Mr. Halloran, and that was the cook for the Overlook Hotel, and how Mr. Halloran was telling Danny when they did the walkthrough of the Overlook Hotel how he's never seen anybody with the shining so bright as Danny, and he was letting him know that this is not a safe place to be when you have The Shining. And then he gives him warning. Mr. Hollerman said he saw some other stuff, Danny told them, once about the playground, and once it was something bad in that room 217. And it goes into some spooky stuff of room 217. So you gotta love it. Room 217 tomorrow. I'll even do the walkthrough for you guys. But I just wanted to let you know, and almost to 400 pages. And again, I think this is my 4th reread. I love the book as much as I did the first time. It's just, it never gets old. And in a place like this, pick up The Shining. They also sell them in the gift shop, but bring a Shining and come and stay at the Stanley in Estes Park. And no, I'm not a travel agent, but this is amazing to read at. All right, more later. This is a nice spooky place to read. It's a little hedge. It's not very tall, but it works. It gives you the feeling. We'll come out here at night and possibly read, or at least do a walkthrough at night. But this is a fun place to read. I think I'm gonna find a little hideaway. There's people touring it. I'm imagining snow and ice and axe and night. Spooky. Spooky. I love the little hedge maze they have. And then you have the mountains right over here. Okay, now we're going to go on a little scavenger hunt of the hotel. We got a sheet when we checked in, the historic Stanley haunted rooms, and there's 8 rooms listed here, and some room numbers I like. We're going to save one till we check in tomorrow night. We're going to talk about room 217 tomorrow when we're actually in the room. So we'll do 7 of the rooms, and I have a little sheet that I'll let you know what happens in the room, what happened, and what people have experienced. It's quite interesting. So let's go for a walk and explore the hotel. Okay, here's our first room, room 321, dedicated to Elizabeth Lizzie Wilson, the Stanley's devoted housekeeper. She's the one that caused the fire in room 217 due to a gas leak. And after surviving, she continued to work at the hotel for many years, her precision and pride legendary among staff. She's known for her old-fashioned values. When unmarried couples come in, they find their clothes tossed about, belongings scattered, or suitcases mysteriously repacked, as though Elizabeth herself disapproves of their stay. Married couples, on the other hand, report clothes carefully unpacked, shoes lying neatly at the floor, and luggage organized as if by unseen hands. Gentle but particular, Elizabeth's spirit seems less mischievous than maternal, so that's room 321. All right, let's go to the next one. 413. It's visited by a well-dressed gentleman in old-fashioned attire, standing silently in the corner as guests drift off to sleep. He never speaks, but his presence is unmistakable. Calm, polite, and refined. Some wake to find their coats hung neatly or their shoes placed in order as if attended to by an unseen valet. Others report feeling eyes on them as they pass the mirror, only to turn and find the room empty. Many believe he's a spirit from the hotel's earliest days, perhaps a stylish haberdasher, a distinguished guest who simply refuses to leave the place he loved. Ever the gentleman, he lingers in quiet dignity, ensuring elegance never fades. Room 413. 407, the spirit is one of Stanley's gentlest presence. No one has ever seen it, but its kindness is unmistakable. A young boy once stayed here and kept kicking off his covers. Each time he did, an invisible hand tucked him back in. Another guest woke to the feeling of someone sitting softly at the edge of the bed. When she turned on the light, the indentation was still there, as if someone had just stood up. Whatever dwells in room 407 seems to watch over guests rather than frighten them. A benevolent presence making sure every visitor feels safe and cared for. Okay, this is room 401, named for the 4th Earl of Dunraven and Mount Earl. This suite pays homage to the Irish nobleman whose early claim to Estes Park predates the Stanley itself. Lord Dunraven never lived to see the hotel's construction, but his presence is said to linger, especially around the 4th floor. Guests have reported the smell of pipe tobacco drifting through the air, the creak of footsteps in the dark, and even the feeling of being quietly observed. Male guests in particular have described an unseen hand resting on their shoulder or brushing the back of their neck. A tall shadow sometimes appears in the corner, watching silently before vanishing, perhaps the proud lord himself, still surveying the land he once tried to call his own. It's room 401. Room number 428. High beneath the gables, the Cowboy Attic Suite is home to one of the Stanley's most famous spirits, a friendly cowboy who seems to watch over his guests. Visitors have reported seeing him pacing quietly at the foot of the bed, hat in hand as though standing guard. Women in particular share stories of waking to find their blankets gently tucked around them, or even feeling a soft kiss on the forehead before drifting back to sleep. No one knows exactly who he was, a rancher perhaps, or a traveler passing through, but his spirit exudes warmth and protection. Far from frightening, he seems to be a courteous guardian of the night, making room 428 a guest favorite among believers and skeptics alike. Room 418, playful laughter and quick footsteps echo through room 418, where the spirits of ghostly children seem to make themselves at home. Guests often report hangers swaying on their own, lights flickering, or covers being tugged off in the middle of the night. One guest told of her 4-year-old daughter waking the next morning with this story. A little boy tickled me last night, but he left when I asked him to stop. Whether imagination or encounter, countless visitors have shared similar tales of giggles, bouncing balls, and tiny shadows darting through the hallways. Room 418 reminds us that not all hauntings are sinister. Some are just the echoes of childhood joy that never quite faded away. This room would scare me. Okay, room 1302 is in this building, the one we're not staying in, and you can't get to it because it's a private suite, and I don't want to get in trouble for trespassing anywhere. So this suite in the lodge gained fame after Grant Wilson, a ghost hunter, experienced an unexplained phenomenon here, watching a heavy table lift from the floor while he was changing the film in his camera. Since then, countless guests have reported their own encounters, shadows gliding along the walls like flies, fleeting figures caught only in the corner of the eye, and an eerie sensation of being watched. Some say the energy in this room feels curious rather than malicious, as if the spirit is simply observing. Whether it's the same force Grant encountered or something older, room 1302 has become one of the lodge's most talked about rooms, a place where even seasoned investigators can't quite explain what they've seen. Okay, and that sums up our ghostly tour, and we're going to save room 217 for tomorrow night when we check into Stephen King's room, and I'll tell you about that tomorrow night. Last night we found out during our tour, it was quite interesting, that this was the bar that when Stephen King and Tabitha were here and they stayed one night as the hotel was closing down for the season, that this is where he came and had a drink and met one of the only employees left named Grady, and he was the bartender, and they shared some stories, and then he went upstairs and had the nightmare, but he named the character after Grady, the bartender, but he's the original caretaker in The Shining, so they have it blocked off. Otherwise, I'd go in there and read, but. Okay, so I have like 100 pages left. I read a lot last night, and I want to finish it up in the room and kind of around and about. If you have read the book or seen the movie, there's a big altercation between Jack and Wendy, and that's where we're at right now. So that's when it really starts to get good. And there's still like 100 pages left, but again, I love this book, so it's been a lot of fun to read around here. Okay, now we're going to talk about room 217 on the haunted rooms. One of the most famous rooms in America, room 217, is where both a real-life explosion and a literary legend were born. In 1911, chambermaid Elizabeth Wilson entered this room to light a lantern, unaware that leaking gas had filled the air. The spark triggered a massive explosion that blew her through the floor below. Miraculously, she survived and returned to work, her dedication becoming part of the Stanley Hotel. Decades later, in 1974, Stephen King and his wife stayed here just before the hotel closed for the season. Wandering the silent, empty halls, King dreamed of a young boy chased by a possessed fire hose, an image that inspired The Shining. Guests today still experience flickering lights, luggage mysteriously unpacked, and the unmistakable feeling of being watched over. Many believe Elizabeth herself continues to tend to the room where she nearly lost her life, ever the devoted housekeeper, still keeping things in order. Okay, let's go for a little room tour. Welcome to room 217. Okay, up here they have a beautiful bust of Stephen King. Let's look around, shall we? We unpacked a little bit of our things. And look at this bookshelf. Why would there not be a beautiful bookshelf in his suite? I haven't even scanned the books here, but let's scan them. I'm looking for the Shining book. Here's some of his books down here. Nice. If you're not scared enough staying here, you can pick up a frightening book. Okay. Then. And here's the bathroom. Let's take a nice tour of the bathroom. Nice and roomy. Ooh, I'm not a big drinker, but they left us some wine and some chocolates. Little chocolates there. And one thing I did notice when we brought in our luggage, and I had to go down to the registration desk. Look what I found. It's guest books of everybody who has stayed here. Notes I don't know, I'm going to be nosy and read some and leave a note. I had to get a piece of paper so we could leave our own notes. Just all kinds of notes. And then there's more books down here. Somebody left a Ouija board. Oh, this is creepy. Oh, look. Here's some little books. Nice. Oh my God, what's that? Stage blood. Why would there not be this in this room? Look. Oh my God. Okay. This is so fun. What else they got down here? Nothing, but we want to go through this. We want to look, it's just packed full. I don't know if I should do names. I'll share different things. What book is this? Black House. And it's just full of anything people could leave notes on. Maps. I was almost desperate to write a map. I'll share the note that I leave. And if any of you, look, there's a postcard. Well, that's a good idea. I could have just used one of my postcards. Look, we got just anything people could write on. How fun is this? Ooh, hello, fellow ghost hunters. Staying in room 217. Didn't have anything happen in here, unfortunately. I'm okay if nothing happens here. And on our tour last night, they talked about Jim Carrey, again, staying in this room, and he left. Here's a nice postcard. He ran out of the room and ran down into the lobby in his boxer shorts and t-shirt, and they said, you need to go get some pants on, and he refused to come back up to the room. And after 30-some years, he's never talked about exactly what happened in this room to scare him, but they put him in a Holiday Inn in town to finish up the filming of Dumb and Dumber. I don't know. I think it'd be interesting if something would happen. Oh, look here. Bathroom door opened on its own 2 times and locks itself so you can't close it. Vivid dream nightmare. I'm sorry. Noises. Humming in bathroom. Piano music through floorboard. No events in ballroom below. Objects moved, repacked. Cell phone taken off charger middle of the night. Don't forget to thank Elizabeth Wilson for all the fun, but also, Elizabeth, please don't follow us. Okay, Elizabeth, don't follow us home. Be kind to us. Let's see. This is just so interesting. Lots of long notes. Let's see. What's this? Me and my 2 sons have been looking forward to a night in this room for years. During the late afternoon and evening, we spent time spooking visitors that came to see the room, looking out through the peephole, mysteriously letting the door open by itself. My fear is, are people going to mess with the door? Are they going to be knocking and banging? Because that will freak me out. I'm going to spend some time looking through this and maybe getting some of the best stories and share it with you guys later tonight. I also still have about 100 pages to read in The Shining to finish it up. Okay, I'm going to do a little haul for this part of the trip, the Stanley. They gave this to us for being in the Stephen King suite. And we're not drinkers, but I will definitely take this home and keep it and put it somewhere special, remembering the stay here. And in the gift shop, I was really excited. I love this picture from the movie. This is actually a real picture from the 1920s, and they just digitized Jack's face on somebody else's body. So I saw this. This was like $10 in the gift shop, and I thought this would be cool to frame and put in our movie room. Got this postcard, and it says, "All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy." In the background, I thought this was really cool. And I like to frame postcards just to remember my travels. And there's a good picture of the Stanley Hotel. My husband picked out this red rum, a coffee mug. He loves his coffee. And then this hat. I don't know how it has a golden retriever hair on it. This hat, red rum. And then I like this shirt. Let's see. And it's got the Stanley on it. Oh, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. Red rum. And spirited since 1909. And that's when the Stanley opened up. I thought these were cute, just for bookmarks, the Shining and the Stanley. And then it says a little snippet about this one. Oh, this is double-sided. And then this talks about the inspiration for Stephen King's novel, The Shining. And yeah, so I'll use those as bookmarks. And then I put up a Halloween tree every year, and I really liked this. And it kind of, my husband pointed out, the little pumpkins kind of made it look like a hidden Mickey also. But it's got the Stanley and a ghost, since we went on a paranormal tour. And I really liked it. They had different scenes of witches and different ghosty scenes, but I like this one the best. So there's my little haul for staying here, and I'll get back with you guys in just a little bit. Okay, we're back. We're going to go through some notes that I randomly chose out of the guest book, and I'm hearing all kinds of tours outside of our room, in the hallway, and outside. So let's start with this one. It's a pretty postcard. I hope you guys can see it. March 16th, 17th, 2025. Terry and Forrest. Our first night we took the Shining tour. Great guide with good stories. We caught blue orbs and pictures. Our first night we experienced yellow orbs in room 217. Our first full day in Estes, we had good food and fine spirits of the liquid kind. Our second night we took the Stanley night tour. We returned. My wife had chest pains. We are in the ER. Prayers. Oh dear. I hope they're okay. I'm covering up their last name. Chest pains and in the ER. That's not good. So I hope they're okay. But there's that one. Look how pretty that is. Stairs to room 217. Hi there. We survived the night in room 217, but not completely in one piece. My sanity may be slightly altered after numerous nightmares all night long. Sadly, that was the worst of the paranormal activity. The best part was messing with people in the hedge maze by standing in the window and terrifying a group of teens who came to take a photo by the door. We came on a spur-of-a-moment trip and had the best time of our lives in a very long time. Good luck, and may you survive the night too. Okay, and that was March of 2024. Well, that's a pretty picture. Hello, future 217 guests. My 14-year-old and I stayed here to celebrate his birthday and to feed his paranormal curiosity. We were not disappointed. 2 windows closing on their own, the shower turning on and off on command, and a special message from a loved one no longer with us. We believe we fully experienced room 217. EMF readings all night, combined with heart palpitations. This room is worth the hype. Oh boy, okay. I don't want heart palpitations. Someone enjoyed our wine while we were out. Okay, this one. My husband and I stayed here one night for our 10th wedding anniversary. We had a wonderful time. Other patrons of the hotel would come to the outside of our door for pictures, and my husband would knock on our door really loud and scare them. That was so fun. I heard repeated very loud knocks or bangs in the night that really scared me. Good luck tonight. Okay, and this was this year in 2025. And I love how all the notes are on different things. Hello, fellow constant readers. Welcome to 217. We spent 2 nights here on our best friend's trip. Had an uneventful Friday night. Saturday night, my friend woke up at 2:30 and felt someone patting her foot. She said it was a comfort pat, like telling her to go back to sleep. We recommend you take all the tours that you can. Very informative and interesting. Don't forget to visit the pet cemetery. We actually did visit the pet cemetery. Try to scare all the people who come to your door. It was very entertaining. You never know who might show up at the door. Sunday morning, we had a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, Leonardo, at our door. Enjoy your time here and soak in everything you can. Long days and pleasant nights. Okay. Hello, 217. Enjoy your time in this room. My husband and I stayed here. I'm a big horror and Stephen King fan. He is not. We were super relaxed in this room, slept wonderfully. The lights flicker, but other than that, nothing spooky so far. Nothing on the ghost tour either, except I got really hot, sweaty, and stomach sick on the final leg of the tour, even dizzy until we got back to our room, and then I was instantly better. Perfect slumber, very strange. Enjoy your stay at the Stanley. That was a couple of years ago. This is March 2024. No supernatural happenings reported, but I never seemed to experience anything. Also, my 2 bourbons probably made sure nothing was going to wake me up. Nevertheless, we had a wonderful stay in room 217. My beautiful partner, Carrie, gifted me this stay for our 20th anniversary. Enjoy your stay, future guest. P.S. I highly recommend taking the Shining tour. It was a blast. Red Rum. We did do the Shining tour and took some really good photos that we'll insert clips at the end of this video. It was a lot of fun, learned a lot about everything to do with the Shining. Okay, this one is, this year again. We really enjoyed our 2-night stay in room 217, and there is definitely a lot of activity, but not of the paranormal kind. Be ready for a non-stop flood of people taking pictures outside the door at all hours of the day and night. We actually decided to play along and invite some of the tour groups into the room so they could see it in the flesh. We also had some fun knocking on the door from the inside when a person was just close enough. That being said, enjoy your stay as much as we did. Well, that sounds like a lot of fun, and that sounds very nice to let people, get a peek into here. Okay, there is a definite feel to room 217. The moment I walked in, the hair on my arm stood up and my hand began to tremor. There was nothing sinister, nothing, just an excited energy. During the night, ghost tour, at one point, you're given dum-dum lollipops. Oh, we have a sucker that we got from our tour last night. The point is to stand them stick up, and the children ghosts all knocked them over trying to grab them. We had a green and a purple lollipop set on the table, side by side, stick up. The green lollipop was knocked over 3 times. The purple was not knocked over at all. Thank you, 217. We had a great time. Well, that gives me an idea to do with the sucker we got last night. Katie was here. Enjoy scaring guests in the halls. Ghosts didn't find me, but that's okay. Love yourself always. Well, that's nice. You should always love yourself. Okay, hello, King fans. We are here from December 16th through 19th, 2022. We didn't have any ghost visits, but we did have a lot of fun scaring the tour groups. We had a blast on the tours and going around the hotel after all the non-ghosts leave at 10 p.m. This trip was to check off a bucket list and to celebrate my 40th birthday. Hope you have fun too, and happy ghost hunting. Well, I hope they had a very happy birthday. Okay, greetings. Room 217 was a great experience. Throughout the night, we heard noises in the room. There were 3 knocks within the room that happened twice. Spooky. Happy we got to experience some ghostly happenings in room 217. Overall, we had a lovely mother-daughter weekend. Happy hauntings. That sounds nice. Dear constant readers and 217ers, you made it to the Stephen King suite at the Stanley. For me, this was an absolute dream come true. I won't reveal if we experienced anything. You'll find out soon enough. Ooh, that sounds spooky. Do make sure that you scare the tourist tour groups outside your door. It's hilarious. Enjoy your stay in the beauty of Estes Park. Red rum. And this will be the last one I share, and then I'll probably write one in the morning and share what I write down. Okay. We were so excited to finally stay in 217. My husband and I are skeptics to the idea of actual hauntings, but came with an open mind. The first night we had no experiences aside from hearing other guests. It was a restful night. Night 2, it got weird. A cold spot hovered over my hands between 1 and 4 a.m. My husband and I both woke up at the exact same time, both heart pounding, scared, but didn't know why. Around 2 a.m., scratches in the bathroom, noises from the front corner of the room next to the chair on the right side of the bed. We leave far less skeptical. It was the weirdest feeling either of us had ever had. P.S. It was very fun to mess with people taking pictures outside the door. We would gently push against the door to make a light bang sound, which freaked out everyone. Well, that seems to be a constant thing, is scare the tour groups outside your room. So I'll put these right back where I got them. And I'm going to get to reading in a little bit. Still have about 90, 100 pages. So, okay. Hope nothing gets us tonight. And I think we're going to have fun scaring the people. And at nighttime, I'm going to try and do something spooky from the window if there's tour groups. I'll try and light myself up as a ghost like what you used to do as a kid and see if anyone can see me in the window. Okay. Bye. Couple of things I want to say. As you read this book, the Overlook Hotel, it's like it's its own character. It's really quite fascinating how I feel. And then I've been thinking that, and it says right here, the Overlook was coming to life around them. It's just like its own character. I love how everything was secluded in the snow, and you just feel cold actually reading this book. And right here is the balcony. And when Stephen King, I think I mentioned this before, he had a horrific nightmare about his son in the hallway and a fire hose chasing his son in the hallway, wrapping around his son and biting his head off. And then he went out on the balcony, which is right here, when this was a door, and had a cigarette and came inside and had basically the whole basis of The Shining planned out in his head. So just reading here by the balcony, but still making my way through the book. Again, it's a reread. Is it even better than it has been in the past? Yes. Is it because of the atmosphere? Probably. But it's always been very high up in my rating. So I'm not going to lie. I've always rated it 5 stars. So this is no exception. And then being able to read a lot of it on the way here, and then different places throughout, and at night in bed, and then now in the room. I mean, it's incredible. Thoroughly enjoying myself. I also love the simple things that are mentioned in the book, Estes Park, since that's where the hotel here is located. So it's just makes you feel like part of the story, you know. Okay, just finished the book, and I'm going to give it 5 stars like I always do. But like I said before, it was so amazing finishing it up here. I'm just going to give a little snippet. Jack Torrance's new job at the Overlook Hotel is the perfect chance for a fresh start. As the off-season caretaker at the atmospheric old hotel, he'll have plenty of time to spend reconnecting with his family and working on his writing. But as the harsh winter weather sets in, the idyllic location feels ever more remote and more sinister, and the only one to notice the strange and terrible forces gathering around the Overlook is Danny Torrance, a uniquely gifted 5-year-old. I loved how it was in a remote setting. I loved the snow. It made you feel like you were just in it, in the snowstorm, alone, stranded in a deserted hotel. I loved the characters, Mr. Holleran and Danny, and I loved their relationship between the two of them. I loved Wendy and Jack and Grady, and a few of my favorite things that I enjoyed was the history that you learn about the Overlook Hotel, and also some history into problems Jack and Wendy have with their relationship, and some things that have happened with Danny, their son. Yeah, I loved it. I loved it. I highly suggest The Shining, Stephen King. And if you're up for it, find yourself to Estes Park, Colorado, and come visit the Stanley Hotel. It's amazing. And I don't know, pick up The Shining and maybe read it here. It's a lot of fun. And if you do come here, they offer so many tours. I think the tour we took last night was the nighttime paranormal tour, and then we did the Shining tour today. They have a frozen man here that you could do a tour. They have seances. They have all kinds of different things. So it's a lot of fun to learn about not only the history of the making of this hotel and the people that lived here, but also learn about The Shining. You know, it was a lot of fun. So this is Halloween Eve. This is October 30th. And our tour guide today with The Shining said that it takes sometimes, right now they're up to 8 years waiting for reservations to get into the Stephen King suite. But we didn't have that. Now we're not spending the night here Halloween night, but we are waking up Halloween morning, so that's wonderful to me. And it was just a phone call back in May, and somebody must have just canceled, and we were able to grab this for one night, and we had 2 other nights in a different room in this same building. With that, I'm gonna end this video. I will probably film in the morning just a little bit before we check out of what I'm gonna leave in the guest book if anything happens or whatever. It has been fun. We've been listening to the tours out in the hallway, and we've been knocking on the door and doing some things and getting a reaction from the people out in the hallway, and that's been a lot of fun. So, but I will go ahead and close out this video. Be kind with yourself, be kind with one another, take care, pick up something amazing to read or whatever brings you happiness, hobbies, anything. And until the next video, guys, bye. Have a great day. This has been a lot of fun, and I've loved sharing this with you. And there'll just be a little clip of my note in a little bit. Bye. Happy Halloween. It's Halloween morning. All right, here's my little note I wrote. To future 217 guests, welcome to this gorgeous hotel and incredible suite. Big fan of Stephen King and blessed to sleep here and finish my reread of The Shining for YouTube. Did we experience anything here? Amazing time, no ghost. However, it's Halloween morning 2025 and I woke up with my hand and wrist killing me. Is it my age and sleeping where at my age you can pull a muscle from doing nothing? Probably. But I love in the future explaining the reason my hand wrist hurts to a doctor because I slept in my favorite author Stephen King's suite 217 at the Stanley. Makes for an awesome story, red rum. And we'll just put this in there. Okay, that's going to end this video, and look for the pictures in the video. Bye, guys. Have a great day. We'll do this because I may have been pulled by a ghost all night. This kills me. Bye.